Hi everyone. It is a cold and windy day, and I hope sometimes that we get these big gusts of wind and it rattles the windows. So hopefully we won't have too many disturbing noises. I was going to do a little coloring and do the Q&A, all the questions I got over the last couple of weeks. Thank you for sending in your questions. I've got my candles going and my diffuser. I'm going to put my lemongrass. I've already got the water in there, so see, try maybe 4 drops of lemongrass. All right, 5 drops lemongrass and orange, sweet orange. It's nice to mix those for nice citrusy, very pleasant. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, it's an exact science. So we will try that. And I have this little coloring postcard book I think my brother-in-law gave me. It's very nice stock, heavy stock, because it's for postcards, so it will be good to use that. I've got my watercolor pencils, and this paper should stand up to them pretty well, to this paper. So I will choose a design. Let's see. I like having a lot of variety, but not a lot of really tiny details, especially for the watercolor pencils. See, like, look at these. The gradations of the leaves are like tiny, tiny, tiny. I mean, you don't have to color them individually, but let's see. This one is some flowers, different flowers, a couple butterflies. It's a cute little bird. Oh, I forgot to do something. I just realized. I have to. I hope that wasn't too bad. I forgot to turn the refrigerator down, because I have to turn the thermostat down when I make a video, because when it comes on it makes a really loud humming sound. So a whole bunch of different butterflies and some creepy bugs, beetles or something like that. The owl. Daddy, mommy, baby owl. That's cute. Here is a nice composition bird. Some mushrooms, butterfly, a couple different kinds of flowers and grasses and stones. I like that one. A bird holding a feather. Three, looks like kind of goldfinch type birds. Birds. Is that the last one? That's the last one. So I think I'll pick that one with the this one. I think I come out really nicely. So I'm going to do this one. I probably should have something to lean it against. Maybe I can use this. I brought these out. These are just regular colored pencils. But then I thought I'd use my watercolors. Now the watercolor pencils I have to sharpen. They're not super dull, but I kind of like them nicely sharpened. So I will start sharpening those, and I will get to the questions. I have questions on my phone. I actually had to take pictures of them. It's a long story, but let's see. All right, I think it's just the beginning. All right. Okay, so I'm going to sharpen the pencils and to get to some of your questions. I was surprised at how many questions I got, but that's okay. What are your personal ASMR triggers? So, I think the biggest one for me is paper sounds, like somebody looking through a newspaper or a magazine, slowly turning the pages. I think that's why those are my favorite kind to make, because that's what I think that my very first experience of ASMR was probably that, paper sounds. And I remember going to fabric stores when I was, I don't know, 12 or 13, learning how to sew. So we'd go to a fabric store, which there used to be a lot more around than there are now. And then they would have big tables. They used to be angled. Now they tend to be flat, but they were angled, and so that they had these gigantic books of patterns. There was Simplicity, Butterick, McCall's, Vogue. That's all I can remember at the moment, but there were probably like 5 or 6 main ones. And then you would sit there with these giant books and flip through them and look at all the patterns. And then there would be people all around these giant tables looking at patterns, usually women, and moms sometimes with their daughters, or teenagers, or grandmothers. And that's what I remember feeling that, what I learned like 30 years later or something was ASMR. So I think that's, yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other things I could think of as actual triggers. Just things related to paper sounds, I would say, are the big one for me. All right. Oops, lost my place. What ignites your soul? Well, I used to love making things, being creative. I've done a lot of things over the years, like sewing and doing different crafts like quilting, polymer clay. I love making miniatures. I used to do displays for libraries and really creative displays. It was so much fun. It's my favorite part of the job. So, yeah, I would say being creative, making things. That's what I love to do. What kinds of jobs have you had outside of ASMR? For some reason, I feel like you would be a teacher. So, first of all, I don't consider this a job. This is a job that pays, for me, almost next to nothing. I think I've been doing it for 10 years, maybe, roughly. And I made a total of $74. So it's a hobby, I would say, for me. But anyway, my main career since I was about, I think, 28, I got my library degree as being a librarian. Mostly public libraries. Small time, I was at a special library, a small business, training business, but that didn't last very long. So, so I've been a catalog librarian, I've been a reference librarian, always in public libraries. What are your favorite sports teams? So I would say the San Francisco Giants baseball team and the 49ers football team. Where do you find all your magazines? So most of them I get from the library. Sometimes I check them out. Sometimes people donate libraries. We have them in like a free box or a giveaway box. So those are nice because then I don't have to worry about bringing them back. But mostly I check ones out from the library. Sometimes I buy them. I have bought ones occasionally. Oh, and sometimes I find them in little free libraries. Like, I don't know if you have those where you live, but we have several in our neighborhood that people put little boxes out front of their house and give away books and sometimes magazines. So I get books and magazines from there. Let's see. Job, blah, blah, blah. Did that one. Okay. What season do you like best? Well, it used to be fall. I always loved that crisp air when you started to feel that crispness to the air and the leaves starting to turn color, and get out your sweaters. I love sweater weather. But now I still love fall, but it's very nostalgic and sad for me too. So even though I still love fall, I'm going to say spring right now because I also love the fresh bulbs that start to come out in spring, the tulips and daffodils and lilacs. I love lilacs. So I love spring for the nice weather that you get and the flowers and the things that start to bloom. The blossoms on the fruit trees are so beautiful. Okay. How did you get into ASMR, was it awkward for you at the beginning making videos? So how did I get into it? So I guess I mean into it in terms of starting to make videos. So I first, gosh, maybe about 10 or 11 years ago, there was an article that came out, and my husband showed it to me, and I had never, it was the first time I ever heard of anybody writing about this experience. I've had the experience for, since I was a kid, since I was a child. Let me try something. But I had no idea it was a thing or that anybody else had experienced it, and I'm sure a lot of you, it was the same thing, like a revelation. So in the article featured Marie, gentle whispering, Maria, I'm not sure of her last name, but so that's when I started reading about it. It's like, oh my gosh. And I started listening to some of the early videos, and it didn't take me too long. I don't know, within maybe 6 months, I thought, I want to try this, really just kind of for fun, to see what it was like, and to make videos kind of the way I wanted to see, like what I would respond to. So I think I'll do this flower in orange and yellow, different shades of orange and yellow. It was awkward. It was a little bit awkward, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just used a tablet, little iPad mini, which I still actually use, but now I have a separate mic. For many years, I just used the mic that came with the built into the tablet, which wasn't very good, I know. So if you watch any of my old videos, you'll know that you usually have to turn them way up because this sound is the volume's not very good. But I like the lo-fi sound. I don't like the close-up mics and when you can hear like every last little sound. I don't know how to describe it, but I like the mic a bit farther away. It's a more natural sound. Okay, let's see. If you could live in any country in the whole world tomorrow, in your dream home, where would it be and why? Well, probably Italy. My grandparents, 3 out of 4 grandparents were all Italian, and my grandmother, especially on my dad's side, I got to know her the best because they lived near us, and she loved Italy. She came here to U.S. when she was about 17, and she just instilled a love of Italy in me. And so when I finally went to travel there in my early 20s, I was like filled with excitement, like I'm finally seeing Italy. And it's just a beautiful country, and the people are warm, and so yeah, I think that's where I would pick, because I just have a lifelong love of Italy instilled in me. Plus, the food is really good. Yes, the food's really good too. And you've got mountains, you've got beautiful coastlines, villages, amazing villages and history. I mean, you've got Venice, you've got, Sicily, you've just got just about everything you could want. And the lakes, Lake Como, that whole region is beautiful. I already did that one. Okay. What was the most exciting time of your life and why? Exciting time of my life. That's a tough one. I don't know. Nothing jumps out at me. It's like maybe probably the first time I moved away from home. I mean, I moved away to go to college, but that wasn't very far from my parents. That was just like a 3-hour drive when I went to college. But then when I went to go to get my master's in library science, that was going to about another state. I went to Colorado to go to school. And so just being on my own there, I guess that was it. That was kind of exciting. And just thinking of starting a new career. So I think that's what I would pick. What do you do as a career, and why did you choose your career? So I mentioned being a librarian, and I chose it partly because when I was in school, like in junior college, I really didn't know. I couldn't decide on any particular career. I was interested in different things, and I was getting a humanities major because I didn't really have any one particular thing I wanted to specialize in. And then my mom suggested it. I said, well, what about librarian? And I thought, well, that's a really cool idea, because I always admired going into the library and asking the librarians, way back then, there wasn't the internet. Some of you were around before the internet. And there was the libraries had a gazillion reference books. And the public libraries, which now they don't usually, the university libraries may still have big reference collections. I'm not sure, but back then the public libraries would. And so you'd ask them a question and they would wander down these aisles of books and they'd pluck one out. They'd flip through the pages and they'd find your answer. And I was so impressed. I said, well, I want to know what's in all those books. So, yeah, my mom was the one that gave me the idea. And so I started looking into it, talked to my guidance counselor, found out there was I could get a liberal studies major and then transfer to get a master's in librarianship. And if you had a general education a degree, that was considered a very valid degree for librarianship. So, yeah, that's how it happened. Oh, I lost my thing again. Okay. Sorry, this is not the best system in the world. Okay. do you have an embarrassing moment that you still, I think I cut the rest of it off. I remember reading this question. It's like, oh my gosh. I've probably blocked out most of my embarrassing moments. One that jumps to mind is when I was in grade school, and I think it was second grade, maybe third grade. And we were in the classroom, and I had to go to the bathroom really bad. And it was like a quiet study period, and the teacher, she had a little group off to the side, and she didn't want to be disturbed. And I couldn't raise my hand, and I was just too chicken to just kind of get up and leave the classroom. It was very kind of strict. So I wet my pants. So humiliating. Oh my gosh. I had a friend, Marion, and she's like, started cleaning it up right away. She was so nice. But yeah, that's something that jumps to mind. Because that was pretty big, pretty old to be doing that. Let's see. What region is your accent from? And your favorite thing about where you're from? So I guess if I have an accent, it's either from New England, just because that's where I was born, Massachusetts. But I was only 6 when we moved across the country to California. So I've lived in Northern California for much of my youth. So maybe my accent is partly from Northern Cal growing up, or my mom had a Boston, not a really strong Boston accent, but a little bit. So maybe I inherited some of that. And my dad grew up in Cleveland and New York, and then in the Boston area too. So I'm not really sure. I didn't. Something blew over in the wind. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really realize I had a discernible accent, but if anybody has any ideas, be glad to hear them. So I'm doing these little flowers in purple and red. So this is orange, light orange, dark orange with the red center. These are little purple and red things. Let's see what else. Oh, favorite thing about where you're from? Well, I guess being New England, since that's where I'm originally from. And I just love the coast over there, and the houses, the architecture, the bricks, the colonial style, and the Cape Cod style. Like Cape Cod region, and having snow in the winter, ice skating. We used to ice skate. The snow would freeze. The backyard, the snow would actually freeze, and you could ice skate on the snow. So, in terms of where I'm from now, Northern California, the weather's pretty mellow year-round. Guess that's pretty good. And we're close to we've got the beach, we've got mountains. Okay. Season, I did that one. What motivated you to start an ASMR channel, and why not get monetized? So I talked already a little bit about how I started making the channel. I just enjoyed watching other people's and thought it would be fun to try it myself. That's really the only thing. And the monetization, I actually didn't know too much about that till last year. All these ads that YouTube was putting on, and I didn't even really realize that, you know, there were all these ads playing, and YouTube was making all the money off it. I didn't really understand how that worked. So anyway, but mainly the main reason I don't have ads on most of my videos is because people mostly, or at least a lot of people, a lot of times, as you know, like to use them. Oh man, something's crashing over my neighbor's house. To fall asleep. People like to use them to fall asleep, and then when you have an ad blaring at the end, or, you know, during the video, that's really terrible for sleeping. So I think that happened to me a few times. Like you're falling asleep and then bam, especially in videos where you have to turn the volume up, which is a lot of them, then the ad comes on really loud. So yeah, so now what I do is I would say probably about more than half of my videos are ad free, and some of them I do have monetized. So if you know you want to fall asleep to a video, just look for one that either says ad free or it might say no ads. So if it doesn't say that, then there's a chance it would have ads. A lot of times, even though I have it monetized, there still aren't ads there. I don't quite understand that, but anyway, just look for the ad free if you want to make sure that you can fall asleep to it. If you, I am trying to make a little supplemental income. So that's why I don't have every single video ad free. I'm hoping to recoup a little bit of the costs of buying things like the mic, or like book. Sometimes I order a special book because I want to do a video on it, or a magazine like the hairstyle magazine I bought. Anyways, so that's the thing. So mainly, the monetization, the ads are to protect people the no ads is to protect people that really want to sleep. So I think I'm going to start something like ad-free Friday. I had this idea that I used to put out a video every Friday, and then it kind of got all messed up. It's just hard to keep a regular schedule sometimes, but I might do like an ad-free Friday, so that every Friday would definitely be an ad-free video, and then any other videos I might be able to do during the week would just be a regular monetized video, but I'm not sure yet. Alright, I'll put these back. So this butterfly I'm doing in blues and greens. Take out that. Country magazines. I keep having to scroll through all the old ones to where question: what led you to create your ASMR channel? So I talked about that. Do you yourself relax via ASMR artists, and if so, who? Or this, I think it was cut off too, but I think the question was like, who are some of my favorites or something like that. So yes, I definitely use the videos mostly to go to sleep. I don't listen too much during the day, usually just at night. And there's so many out now. There's like so many zillions of them. I don't tend to look for new ones just because it's too overwhelming. There's just too many people. And a lot of them I don't like. There's just things that just get on my nerves, like tapping, waving hands around, rubbing stuff, all those things that like aren't just natural sounds. They really, I really find them unpleasant for me. So it's hard to find videos that don't have those sort of things in them. So I tend to watch ones that are favorites that might be like, 8 or 10 years old. So like Tony Bomboni, you probably know him. He's really big. He has a couple of old videos that I just love, and I listen to them all the time. One of them is how to manifest things in your life. He basically is flipping through a magazine, and then there's one he has on how to save money. He has like a whiteboard, and he talks about that. So those are two favorites. And he has an herb shop one. He tends to do a lot of tapping on all his current videos, and so I can't listen to most of them. So he does sometimes. He does a lot of tarot reading, and sometimes I listen to those. Also like Joni ASMR. I think she also goes by Whispers Latina. I can't remember. She doesn't tend to do a lot of tapping and all that other stuff. She just talks. She's a very sweet, very lovely person. And she has someone like color, doing your color wheel and things like that, and I like those. And then there's Starlight Whispers. She, again, the ones I like of hers mostly are the really old ones. She has a travel agent one about Disneyland in Paris. I love that one. She has a one on personal shopper. So yes, I do use them to help fall asleep, but I have like a set of probably no more than a dozen that I just listen to over and over. Sometimes I'll just find one that's just like flipping through a newspaper, like the Sunday paper, with no talking, just the crinkly paper sounds. Sometimes I'll listen to those to fall asleep. Do you have any children? And what does your hubby think about your doing ASMR videos? So I do not have children. My husband and I got married kind of late. I was, 34 or 35, something like that. And we just were not able to have children. We wanted to. And we never really looked into that seriously, into adoption or anything like that. But now I kind of wish we had, because I do regret not having had children. Yeah, that's a tough one. As you get older, I don't know. It's just hard not to have that. What does your hubby think about your doing ASMR videos? So he's very supportive. he does not get ASMR himself, so he doesn't watch the videos. But he's supportive of my doing it, and he says, you want me to leave the house so you can make a video? Because he works from home, and so it's hard to do them when he's here sometimes. So usually I try not to do it, to make one, unless he is out of the house. Let's see, I'm an East Coast gal, New England. I know in past videos you've mentioned things reminding you of New England. My question is, did you grow up out east? So yes, as I mentioned before, I was born outside of Boston, lived in Boston suburbs, and then for a while in Maine also, till I was 6 years old. And then we moved out west. Do your own videos relax you, or can you not watch yourself? So I can't. I can watch my videos. I don't like have an aversion to watching them. I don't use them to relax. Sometimes I'll watch, when I make one, I'll watch it all the way through just to make sure there's no weird things that happen, or to check the sound and things like that. But doesn't like repulse me to watch. Which ASMR artists do you enjoy? Those I kind of mentioned, the ones that I watch most often before. Maria, another one, gentle whispering. I don't watch hers a lot, but I like her old ones. She has like folding clothes ones, or instructions on how to fold towels and things like that. I love those as well. What are some of your favorite books? One of my all-time favorites was actually read when I was a kid, and I still have a copy of it, which is My Life in Hard Times by James Thurber. It just makes me laugh every time I read it. I like Catch-22, Joseph Heller. The Life of Pi was fantastic. I read sometimes romantic comedy, or like Bridget Jones' Diary. Absolutely cracked me up. So yeah, it's kind of a mix. What's your favorite ASMR from when you were a kid? So the ones I mentioned before were like newspaper, somebody looking through a newspaper, or looking through a magazine, as well as the fabric store. I think the fabric store would probably be my number one favorite, is women looking through slowly flipping through those pattern books. There'd be like a murmuring, sound in the store. I think this might be the last page. What is your favorite TV show? What is your favorite type of food? So, TV show, gosh, I probably favorite drama of all time would be The West Wing. And of the more recent shows, I loved Madam Secretary. The current shows, I love the Diplomat, waiting for the new season. And then comedy shows, favorite of all times, probably Seinfeld and Frasier and MASH. current favorites, there's a comedy called Fisk. It's on one of the streaming channels. Oh, and The Morning Show is on HBO. That's really well done. And Ted Lasso. I love Ted Lasso. I love the Mindy Project, or the Mindy Show. But there was one other that I can't think of. Favorite type of food? Probably Chinese and Italian, I would say. I can't decide between those two. So, those are my favorite. What does your husband think of ASMR? And are your friends and family aware of your channel? As I mentioned, my husband's fine with it. And he doesn't, as I said, he doesn't have the effect himself, so he never watches them, but you know, he's sympathetic. And friends and family mostly know. I'm very self-conscious about it. It was many years, it was actually years before I even told my husband. And then I was embarrassed, not that I hadn't told him. And then eventually I told my sister and brother, because both of them listened to it, and I knew they listened to it, and we talked about it, so I finally confessed that I had a channel. And my brother never asked me what my channel name was, so he's never listened to it, but my sister did. So then I kind of regretted it, because when she watched them, I just felt very self-conscious. If I think somebody I know is watching a video, it makes me very self-conscious. So I haven't told anybody else. There was one or two coworkers I told, but didn't tell my channel name. Just told them that I made them. Did you ever find out why the helicopters were overhead? Not that time, but it does happen with some regularity around here. And usually, well, sometimes, maybe usually, it's because there's somebody that just committed a crime, like stole something, stole a car or whatever, and they're running through the neighborhoods trying to, get away. And the fact it happened to us just a couple of days ago. Somebody ran through our backyard trying to get away from the police. It was very nerve-wracking. We were out walking the dog at the time, but we saw him, and we saw all the cop cars. And, yeah, it makes me want to move away from the neighborhood. Do you end up with lots of Shasta hair on your black wardrobe items? No, because she does not shed. Fortunately, she doesn't have that kind of fur that sheds at all. Life is short, go for the peasant top. Oh, that was about the last video. And thank you. I think I will get that peasant top. Let's see. Favorite type of music, favorite band, group, or genre? Well, I'm a child of rock, I would say. I grew up listening to rock music, hard rock, and then later alternative rock and somewhat modern rock. So I definitely love all rock music, pretty much, not all, but most. But I also like sometimes classical, just for relaxation, and sometimes I'll put on bossa nova, just for that kind of up-tempo background music in the house. think that might be the last one. Favorite band. Gosh, I don't know if I like Jethro Tull. I like Led Zeppelin. Yeah, there's the Beatles, of course. Is that the last? Yeah, that's the last. All right, well, that's good because my throat is really getting dry. I didn't get very far on my coloring. Maybe I'll finish it. I don't know.